Good morning and happy July 15th. My name is Carrie Capone and I'm the founder of The Spinning Hand. And one of the things that I wanted to do this year in 2022 was to sell on Amazon. So I have to shout out to Jacqueline and Mina at the Product Boss because they really inspired me to start a new revenue stream. And I was studying their ways last year and figuring out what would it look like to sell on Amazon? What could I even sell? So typically I have an Etsy shop, I have thespinninghand.com, and I sell yarn, a lot of different SKUs, a lot of different listings, and I sell a new knitting kit every month. That wasn't really going to work for Amazon. They do have subscription options, but I would say the majority of my business right now is from people who get a different knitting kit each month. And I'm happy keeping that in-house. I didn't need to do that on Amazon. So eventually I thought of the idea of a Learn to Knit kit exclusively for Amazon. And good morning, by the way. If you're joining us live, please comment and let me know who you are and where you're listening from, where you're watching from. So yeah, getting started on Amazon. I almost said Facebook. Getting started on Amazon has been a months-long process. Usually, I'm used to like launching something quick and dirty, learning lessons, and then iterating and rinse and repeat and improve. But Amazon is slower. It's a bigger ship. And as we all know, it takes a longer time to turn a bigger ship and to make changes. So my number one suggestion, if you are thinking of selling on Amazon, is to be patient. Not my strong suit. So I suggest that you be patient, and I'm going to hide this because it takes many steps to figure out how to sell on Amazon. So I had Jacqueline and Mina's help going to the Product Boss. They have a module in their multi-stream machine program that tells you how to become a seller on Amazon, and they tell you step by step by step. And so, especially if you're not familiar with the seller platform on Amazon, which no one is at first, it's sort of it looks like it's a very complicated dashboard, and I wonder if I can share my screen. Let me see if I can. That would be amazing. Cinema layout, picture in picture, share. Ooh. Share screen. All right, I'm not going to bother with this right now, but trust me when I say that it really does, it takes a little time to get comfortable with the Amazon platform. Now, to their credit, Amazon is often giving you little polls and saying, does this make sense? Do you feel comfortable with this? And they're changing all the time. So that's the other thing is like, once you learn how to do something, it might change on you. So my first step was to there were so many steps, but the first step as far as selling on Amazon was to get the product photos ready to go exactly as they suggest that you have them set up. It had to be on a clean background, white, and there's a certain percentage of the picture that had to be filled with the product. So you had to have your one image in place. Honestly, that like took the majority of my time was, first of all, getting the product. I special ordered boxes and having a professional photo shoot. Shout out to Matt Payton for the most beautiful product photos, like super clean and professional. And then getting those uploaded. Anytime that I should back up by saying that before becoming a seller on Amazon, you do have to apply, you have to sign up. And I already had a business account because I'm buying supplies for my business on Amazon. So it wasn't too difficult to then transition to applying for a seller account. But I am an LLC, so they do want your employee identification number. I had to send them a photo of my passport. I mean, they really want to make sure that you are who you say you are. And then it takes a couple days. So every new step in the process takes a couple days. I said, okay, I want to sell on Amazon. They said, great, show us your formation papers. Show us that you're an LLC. Great. A couple days later, send us your passport photo. Fine. Then it takes another couple days. Then you say, here is the product that I want to sell. And I can't remember exactly if then I had to upload the photos at that point or not. But then there's a different process for approving the listing. It was never a long time, but I think they say it's going to be up to 72 hours for each step. But then they just send you an email and say, you've been approved or you haven't been approved, and here's what to do next. So this is all before you're selling anything. And so there's definitely patience required at that point. Then once it was finally live, I would say, like, step B of being patient is you are not going to get your money. Even when you do start selling, you are not going to get money from them for quite a while. So I was excited at first because, so today is day one. Oh, no, it's not day 100. Today's day 50. It's been 50 days since I sold my first product on Amazon. And I've sold 89 kits, which is great. Now, it grew very slowly. So at first it was like one little sale, one little sale, one little sale. And I didn't get paid until like maybe a month after sales started. And it was like $100. And then when sales started to pile up, I was all excited. Look at how much money is in my account. And then all of a sudden it went to 50% of what I saw. So if I had, let's say I had $1,000 in my payment account, suddenly it was $500. And I thought, oh, like I haven't been paid $500. So what happens is Amazon takes 50%, maybe more, of whatever you have, and then they put it in reserve. So at first I was like, that's not right. Why are you doing this? And then they have seller forums on Amazon, and they tell you, this is very common. And one seller said, I had $50,000 taken in reserve. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna be too worried then about my own tiny reserves. But I guess it does make sense. You know, Amazon wants to protect themselves. They want to make sure that, let's say I sold 50 kits, but I sold them to friends and family, and then I had them return them all or something. They just want to prevent against scams, especially while they're still getting to know me as a seller. So I get it. But it does take time to recoup your costs. And yes. So I will say that I have Amazon fulfill my orders. And what that means is I send them 30 kits at a time, or 25 or whatever. It doesn't matter really how many I send them, but I send them a batch at a time. And then they, once the sales come in, they ship them to different parts around the country. And obviously there is a higher fee for that. But it's so nice. You know, I don't have to be popping over to the, number one, I don't have to pop over to the post office so often. But number two, if you have Amazon Prime, then you can just click and ship, and it makes it a much more seamless experience for the customer, which is ideal. We want them to buy. So, by the way, if you're watching live, I would love it if you just posted your name and where you're from, and welcome. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and write replay and let me know where you're listening from. So be patient. That's my number one thing. And I did say to myself, look, if a year from now, Amazon is an income stream, amazing. So I'm giving myself a year. Good morning, Jess. And we're not even close to a year yet. So 50 days. All right. So number two, if you're going to sell on Amazon, and this is for product-based businesses. If you're selling digital products and you want to publish on Kindle direct publishing, that's a whole different ball game, which we can get into. But this is for product-based businesses specifically. So my number two suggestion for selling on Amazon is to run ads and to continually test. So as of June, let's say 24th, I had sold 15 kits organically, not through ads, and 15 kits through ads. And I really tracked like how many sales have come through advertising and how many sales have come organically just through search or me begging ex-boyfriends to buy a kit. And 2/3 of all of my sales have come from ads. So at that one point, it was even Steven. And then, from the beginning of time, those 50 days till now, almost exactly 66% of my sales have come from advertising. So if you have never run ads before, I really recommend they have webinars on Amazon. You can also look at YouTube videos on how to run ads. And I would just start super small. I don't know if I started at $10 a day. It might have been $5 a day. I would have to go back and look. But you can start with a tiny, tiny budget and just experiment and see what happens each day. So I set a timer. I set like a reminder to myself in Asana, and I say, go ahead and do your ads analysis every day. At first, I was doing it Monday through Friday, maybe, or maybe even every other day, because there weren't any sales. But I got excited. And so once the sales started to really pile up, I was like, oh, like, why is this happening? And, and trying to make some predictions. So I started out with one ad, learned some lessons, let's say over a week or 5 days. And then I copied and pasted that ad, but tweaked the B version in one way and compared the performance. And the number one metric that I was using is called ROAS, which is return on ad spend. So let me just, let me write that down. Okay, ROAS equals return on ad spend. And some of you might already know this, but what that means is for every dollar that I spend on ads, how many dollars am I getting back in sales? So an ROAS of 1 means that if I spend $39 on ads, I get one sale at $39. That's what the kit costs. And so obviously it's a break-even proposition if you have an ROAS of 1. And Amazon calculates this for you. They tell you exactly what your average ROAS is. And then you can funnel more money into the ads with higher return and turn off the ads with lower return. So currently my goal is to get to 3. So for every dollar I spend, I make $3 in sales. And it's interesting because within each ad, there are a few different categories. And so within an ad, sometimes the ad spend, the return is higher or lower. Like I've got one little section that's like 4. Oh, it's over 4. And then maybe another section is under 1, but then it all averages out. So I'm kind of an ad spend or like data nerd about all this. And but again, you can just go as slow as you want. Um, but definitely Amazon is going to favor people who spend on advertising, and they're going to have you show up a lot higher in their algorithm. So another thing that well, I guess you don't need to see return on ad spend anymore. But another thing to test out is coupons. And even if you don't have any reviews, I think you can still put a coupon on your listing. So I should have said that before you really run ads, I would have at least a few reviews. I think that really helps. So yeah. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about that, about advertising. And my third suggestion for if you're going to sell products on Amazon is to have a plan to scale. This was something that is a very happy problem that I didn't expect to have. And all of a sudden, after, let's say, 6 weeks on the market, I started selling kits at a rate of 2 a day and then 3 a day. And I thought, oh, I had really expected to sell 1 a day. I thought, oh, if I sell 1 a day, I've sent them enough for 90 days. This is going to be great. But then all of a sudden, they were really starting to ramp up. The ads were doing their job. And I thought, if I'm selling 3 a day in July, what is going to happen during the holiday season? So I had to scramble and call all of my vendors for the yarn, for the boxes, for the needles, for the project bags, and say, how many do you have in stock? Things are being shipped from China, from India, from Japan. So the boxes are made in the US, but everything else is imported. And then I've got to assemble everything and send it out. So there's a cost associated with that, right? If you can plan ahead and you can possibly buy in bulk ahead of time, then you will pay less per item, and then your profit margin will be higher. So, but you know what? Few people have the means to do that. So fine. It is a good problem to have. But I would definitely keep in mind, especially if you have components that need to be sourced from overseas, talk to your vendors and make sure that they have the capacity to send you things in bulk. Because if you need 1,000 units for the holiday season, you're going to want to know that ahead of time so that people can prepare. My project bags are sewn by women in India, and so they've got to ramp up production. Anyway, so yeah, have a plan to scale. And also my next step is to write down standard operating procedure so that I can have help assembling all the kits. Because when the fall comes and I'm busy in other areas of the business, then I'm going to be able to just hand it off to someone else and say, okay, please assemble 100 kits and take them to UPS and ship them out. And, we can work on other things. So to sum up, my 3 suggestions, if you're going to sell on Amazon as a product-based business, is number 1, to be patient. Be patient with the process. Be patient with yourself. You are going to make mistakes. Oh, you're also going to get average reviews. You might even get bad reviews. And please just remember that everyone gets bad reviews. You can't please everybody. And also it's suspicious if you only have glowing reviews. So it just adds a little grit. It adds a little bit of authenticity to your listing. And if they have a valid suggestion to improve your product, listen. I mean, what a valuable, valuable tool. So also try not to get too hung up on the vanity metrics. I was very excited because at the height of my advertising spending, frankly, the kits were up to number 8 in the rankings of knitting kits being sold on Amazon. Well, that's, great. Like, it's a nice to have, but it's not like you want to spend a ton of money just to get higher in the rankings. So it's all about profit, really. So be patient with yourself, and test, not only with your ads, which I highly recommend you get into, but look at the numbers and just learn and figure out things. And Amazon will tell you, they'll send you emails and they'll say, hey, here's what you might like to try this week. And they do it according to where you are in your business. So if you've just started posting, they'll say, oh, try this, try that. They've got seller forums, so they do have a lot of community. I find that the seller forums are a bit sensationalist. They'll have these headlines that are like, Amazon did this, and I'm like, okay, I just no, try to keep the focus. And then the third thing that I have as a suggestion is to have a plan to scale. And I am telling myself this to expect to win and take the time to imagine what that will look like. What will it look like when I'm selling 10 kits a day, and and feel that excitement, but then also plan for success. So thank you, Jess, for saying that there's so much great info in here. I'm going to kind of distill everything and put it in notes below the video on YouTube. And if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching the replay, please go ahead and comment and let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything else you'd like me to cover. I hope you have a great, great weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.